Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining this panel on digital marketing and social media strategies. I am here joined by one at the moment, but nearly soon two amazing digital marketing strategists. Here we have Becic. And before we start, I would like to say a big thank you to the guest speakers, the amazing performers, and of course, the organizers for putting on such a great event. Now, Kat, if you'd like to tell us a bit about what you do and how you got to what you do, the floor is yours.
Sure, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's good to be part of this conference for the first time. I have done many things with Berkeley and made a lot of friends on the campus in Valencia. So it's interesting to do this digitally now. So yeah, as you can see, I'm fully branded for today, and here's Pablo. Hi. Yeah, so to tell you a little bit about myself, I have come to Berlin 5 years ago for a job at Ableton, where I work as a head of social channels, but I also work, say, 50% of the time on projects that are to do with bringing more women into music production. Before coming to Berlin, I lived in London, and I worked for Google for 7 years in a small creative team, basically content marketing. And I guess London was a big school for me, which is where I went to university as well, studying international marketing. So I'm very, very grateful for this journey. But when I moved over to Berlin, it was time to focus a little bit more on music, which is my true passion, especially electronic music. So that's where I'm at now. You mentioned before key change, that I should speak a little bit about that. So I'll use the opportunity while we wait for Stef to join. So couple of years ago, I joined the program as an innovator and ambassador for the Key Change program, which is a European-wide initiative for equality in gender equality in music industry. It started off with PRS Foundation in London, and it includes various festivals across Europe and also some in Canada. And as part of this initiative, there's a group of artists that are chosen every year or every 2 years to travel around to showcase their music, as well as a group of innovators who are there to kind of join the forces with artists and try to make a difference, basically, in the industry. So we can speak a little bit more about this topic as we go through your questions about social media and the importance of purpose for brands. So yeah, I can see Stef has joined now, and maybe I talked enough about myself, so I'll hand it over to you.
I'm sorry, I was trying to log in and it wouldn't have it.
Welcome, Stef. How are you doing?
All good, and you?
Super good. Super happy to be here and to talk to you ladies. So would you like to talk to us a bit about what you do and where you are right now, etc.?
So I run my own company called High Fives, and we do digital marketing and strategy for not just labels and artists, but also theater and brands, festivals as well. So yeah, that's what I do. In the past, I've worked with Sony Red, working for Skepta, Alter Bridge, all artists. So.
That sounds awesome. If you want, we can start with our first question. But before, I'd like to say to the audience, if you have questions, please use the question tab. I'll also be looking at the chat, and we'll have some time at the end for your questions. But if you want to jump in while we're talking, you're more than welcome to do so. So my first question is, of course, about the pandemic, because it has been the event, I believe, of 2020. And I was very impressed at how quickly the music industry shifted and how innovative it became. And so I wanted to know what is the most creative marketing campaign or strategy that you saw during the lockdown?
So just to say that a lot of brands have been focused a lot on modifying behaviors, so things like wash your hands and stay home. But I think some of the artists have done a really good job at serving the purpose of actually entertaining and kind of filling that gap in what we're all missing, and being at concerts and gigs and clubs and so on. So the example I have is from one of my favorite artists. Her name is Regine Murphy, and maybe some of you have already heard me speak about her, but I was really impressed. I've been watching a lot of live streams, obviously during the lockdown as everyone else, but hers really stood out for me. And the reason why is, actually, let's play the first example, and then I can tell you a little bit about what I think was really different about this one.
Should I start with the video called Incapable?
Yeah, please.
It's gone cold. It's horrible weather. It's gone stone cold. You know the issue.
Okay, I think you get the idea. So sorry about, there was a bit of an echo going on, but so as everyone else, Regine streamed from her bedroom, or not bedroom, living room. However, she introduced the visuals. I'm not really sure how she's done it, but for me that really stood out. And costumes. So the effort she made to basically look like she is on the actual stage. And on top of that, her singing sounded so crisp that, I mean, it really felt like she was singing live to me. I have heard her many times live in the club and at concerts, and she literally put me in the space like I was there again, or reminding me of those times. So maybe I just wanted to show one more example of the change of music, and then I'll tell you a few more things about why this was interesting. Okay, so before we get carried away with her music, you can find all the videos on YouTube, and that's actually another point I wanted to make. So the pre-promotion of the content was done obviously through her social media channels, but it was all part of the partnership with a group from the UK, Queer Group. She's quite big in this community, and it was streamed on their platform. And the way they constructed the program was also really clever, because she was the star of the day. The streaming program was running for, I don't know, 7-8 hours with different DJs throughout, but her performances were on say every hour, one track or potentially 2 tracks. So they kept the audience engaged. For those who have fans, they would stay home all day just to be able to catch her. And then the streaming itself, as we already spoke about, the change of costumes and lights and the she clearly had a team to help her because that looked like a lot of work. And finally, the output, what happens with content post the live stream. It's all uploaded onto YouTube. Is it tagged? Is it done properly? Optimization, etc., etc. And what can you do further with this content? So that's my example. And obviously, we've done Ableton Loop online as well this year because we had to cancel Loop in real life, and it was a really successful 3 days of challenges, live streams as well. So it's something you can also look up on the Loop site how we have done that, how we try to recreate that vibe from Loop in real life online. And I think based on the community feedback, we managed to do so.
Certainly, and that example sounded amazing. Stef, would you like to talk to us about what strikes you this spring? I don't know.
It's been a bit boring, I think, because people are just doing live streams all the time. And you can see that at first it was fine, but then the engagement that we're seeing on the live streams is not happening. But yeah, I think that there are some new features that Facebook are bringing in, for example, like the stars. You can now give stars to creators, for example, which is basically like paying for, like TikTok does, for example. You can just pay 4 stars and then give them to creators. Mm-hmm. And that is the new thing now. But yeah, apart from that, I haven't seen any campaigns, just good albums. But in terms of campaigns, it's all been a bit boring, I think, because it's what we had to deal with, really.
Yeah, I think everyone was a bit shaken and surprised by what happened and how sudden it was. I have a question for you, Stef, specifically. So I'm an independent artist, and a lot of people in this audience are also, and both testify social media and marketing. And so how would you advise a grassroots artist on how to manage their time so that they can balance music production, which they should be doing, with self-promotion?
Yeah. I always have the same answer. It's like, I'm sorry, but you have to. So, and you do have to. Sorry, is it too noisy outside?
It's fine, don't worry.
But there are lots of free online courses that you can do on Facebook marketing and Instagram, and you can just join groups and do it for free, but you do have to spend some time learning how things work in order to make your career.
I see. What about you, Kat? I see that with the democratization of music production, Ableton is being used by more and more bedroom musicians, and I was wondering how it is affecting Ableton's marketing strategy. Are you now targeting directly these people, or are you maintaining what I feel is this idea of a very professional brand?
Well, that's a very good question, because especially during the lockdown, we gained a lot of new customers who are bedroom producers. So all of these people need to be onboarded properly, and they're all searching for learning content. So we obviously need to tailor more to the beginners and getting them onto the software, because we know that the learning curve for Ableton can be pretty steep. So let's say creating more content that's tailored to the beginners is one of the ways, one of the things we're looking into. But it's also all about making sure that all of these people already feel like they're part of the community of music makers. So what we're trying to do in general is to create biggest community of music makers in the world, and that's quite a hard job, because at the moment we are still able to maintain these relationships with our artists, with our certified trainers, with our user group organizers. But the bigger this group grows, the bigger challenge we have. So that's something we're still still working out how to adapt more to these different types of audiences.
Do you find that you have to educate your artist on it?
Of course, I mean, we have artists switching from different doors, coming onto our platform, and in a lot of the cases, we can offer them some training, depending on the relationship we have with them. But that's also part of the work I'm doing for women in music, trying to approach it that we have enough trainings for complete beginners, but that we also cater for more intermediate or advanced level users to fill in those gaps and raise the competency of women who are already there but like need to up their game.
You know, I find that as well. Like, I try to educate my artists, but if also they don't want to do anything with social media, it's like, maybe I cannot work with you. Like, if they don't understand the importance of it, then
I think slightly different in this case.
Yeah. Stef, have you seen a rise in independent artists that are working with you? Because I know that you work with both signed artists and indie artists, but over the last few years, have you seen that the ratio between signed and unsigned has kind of like tilted on one side?
Yeah, usually for major label artists, we do everything for them. We create the schedule, we post on their behalf. So really everything, every day, I'm just suggesting new posts, that kind of thing. But for indie artists, I can just give them some guidelines and they will do it themselves.
So it's more of a consultation basis.
Yeah.
And would you...
Because obviously they don't have the budget to get someone like us every month. So they are okay to just go away with some advice and they actually do it. But for major artists, I've seen that they do need for us.
Sorry. At what point in an artist's career would you advise to come to you for a consultation? Because there are some artists that have some music that's already produced, some that have a vague idea, some that are just starting. Like, at what point are we going to think, right, I need Stef Pascual's help?
No, for consultation anytime. And we are a bit special and we charge differently depending on the size of the artist as well, which is not something that people consider, but I think that you should. Because if the artist is starting, you can just give them some advice and it's not going to be the same as someone that is more mature and has been in the industry for years. And I don't think that you should charge the same for both accounts.
Mm-hmm. Of course. And talking about kind of like mentoring and lifting someone up, I wanted to say I'm very happy that this is an all-female panel. We don't see a lot of you in the industry, but it's starting to emerge. This is great. I've been studying the music business academically for the last 5 years, and I have seen more and more female speakers, which I'm so happy about. So my question here is, do you have a female mentor in the music industry or someone that you look up to that inspired you to get into this business, basically?
I have to say I don't have one from the music industry, but I have one from Google. It's a colleague of mine from Google who have been running several markets in the Middle East. Her name is Milena Juricic, and she's an example of somebody who just knew her shit. And basically, to me, this is what sets somebody apart, no matter of the gender. And basically, she was so strong with her knowledge that nobody could argue with her about anything. And she was at Google for quite a long time, same as me. And then moved on to create her own content marketing agency based in Istanbul now. So also having that independence and drive and fearlessness is some of the things that I picked up from her.
We love strong female figures. What about you, Stef?
I was on my own when I started because it was like more like production and things like that. So it's like I was always the one girl there on conferences and things like that. But I think that I'm very lucky, maybe because I'm old. I don't have mentors. It's just like now they're my best friends. But I would say that Julie Weir, that signed the first Bring Me the Horizon albums, she's badass. She's now working for Sony and working with Bury Tomorrow and still like heavy bands. And then Emma Van Dijks, which is fantastic PR, worked for Warner. Now he's working with Public Enemy, Deftones, Mastodon, bands like that. And it's all hair. Like, you know, when someone is just such a star, it's just hair. So yeah, it's brilliant.
Sounds so cool. All of the people that you mentioned, to be honest, and I would love to meet them. We have a question from Pierluigi.
Can I just jump in on this point of mentorship, just to say that this kind of the question referred a bit towards our younger days and periods when we were growing, but I don't think this really matters. I think even when you get to a certain level of seniority, or you should always have a mentor, and or just somebody you can consult, because it's always good to have somebody to bounce your thoughts off. And
definitely, I'm just lucky that now they are my best friends.
I completely agree, and they're probably not watching, but I really thank my mentors as well, because they're making me the person that I am today. So we have a question about from Pierluigi. He says, what is the one and only platform we all need to get to keep up with the music industry? Is it TikTok? Is it Twitch? According to you?
Right now, what is working for my artist is Instagram.
I would agree. I think TikTok is a problematic platform, and even though there's a lot of people on it, and I just heard the stat that it's the most downloadable app in the shortest period of time ever during lockdown. However, I'm also reading a lot of articles now about the privacy issues, TikTok being kicked out of India, TikTok being kicked out of Hong Kong, and this is all going to be happening a lot more because it's a Chinese company that has a lot of problems with data privacy. So, of course, if you have a strategy for TikTok, it makes sense, but Instagram is a lot more widespread, a lot more open to in terms of formats, I think, for musicians, and generally I'm a big fan of the platform.
Yeah, TikTok is kind of like a unicorn. It's a nice idea, but is it implementable? You know,
it is good to also keep in mind that you're just selling 15-second music bits, so it is quite difficult to then translate that into streams or things.
We are now opening up the floor for questions. I've got 2 questions in the question tab that are specifically for Kat about Ableton. I don't know if you're able to answer them. One is about when is Melodyne available for Ableton Live? And the second one is, do you welcome artists to sit and have a talk at Ableton Pressloser? Sorry, my German is terrible.
Okay, first question relates to the future product features, which we don't talk about.
That's what I thought.
Okay, Prince Lauerberg, right. So you mean, do we do art like tours of the office? So at the moment, no, because we're not even in the office, and we are not even, only a small amount of people is allowed to be in the office, and those are all Abletons, no externals. So I don't know how this will change in the future. Sometimes artist relations team hosts some of the artists in the office, but this all kind of, we don't have like an open policy for this. So there's an AR at Ableton email, and you can drop them a line and see what they say.
Thank you. We have another question from Ryan, who says, any ideas on growing an Instagram page? Are hashtags useful? And if so, which hashtags to use?
Of course, hashtags are useful, but I think you need to think about it from your personal perspective and also from your audience perspective. So before you even get there, you need to think about who's your audience and what's relevant to them.
Exactly. So I would say don't use more than 5 or so, but make sure that they are relevant and they are specific. So don't use new music, because that's going to take you nowhere. It needs to be quite specific to what you do and what you want to achieve.
We have a question from Erin, who is asking, for someone who wants to work in digital marketing, what are important aspects to be able to reflect in terms of skills? What are the necessary skills to work in digital marketing?
Steph, do you want to start, or?
Go to Berkeley. Yeah, definitely. Like if you can, Berkeley's courses are incredible, and they got something to do with data. They got something to do with marketing, brands. So it's super useful. Apart from that, I would say try Google Garage or Facebook Blueprint. Things like that are free, and you can just do them for the time being.
Yeah, I would say I would agree. So knowledge of the tools is really important. Again, it depends on which part of digital marketing, because now that's such a broad field. So know your tools. Being a strategist is another. Again, not everyone has these skills, but in digital marketing, because you have so many channels to juggle, strategizing is really important. Creativity as well. So creatively thinking about formats, videos, stories, etc., how it all blends together, tone of voice, captions, being creative with your captions as well. And communication. So similarly to what I said about captions, communications is key, and communication is about knowing who you're talking to and how you're talking to them.
Yeah, for me, I've got my designer is the other person that I've got the company with, and he's the creative one, and I'm the strategist. But it is completely different. So you don't need to, as you said, decide which way do you want to go. But then there are many resources available for you. And in terms of finding a job, lots of groups on Facebook, lots of newsletters and groups that work on Google. So just keep an eye out and sign up.
Thank you. We have 2 minutes left. I think that's enough for one more question. And we have one from Fernanda, who says, as a musician, how can you get people to listen to your music in other countries than yours?
What I would say, make sure that you use YouTube, because it is massive out of there. I don't even know where I am anymore. I just arrived to Spain a few hours ago. But use closed captions as well. So translate the music, use lyric videos. I know that it might seem a bit lame, but you don't need to do lyric videos. That helps a lot with people from outside Europe and the UK.
What do you think, Kat?
Sorry?
I think that's a difficult question to answer. But yeah, I agree. YouTube is the most global platform, but you could also think about using those distribution platforms. I'm not an expert in this field, but there are a lot of these smaller kind of startups that offer distribution of music on various channels.
It is just that, I'm sorry. It's just that something is going down.
Well, we might have to wrap up now. But ladies, it's been an absolute blast to talk to you. I've learned a lot in the process, and I'm sure the audience has as well. And I really hope to meet you in real life.
Yeah, and thank you to everyone who also put some of the examples of campaigns and tips into the chat box. I'm gonna look through them and see what else is there.
Thank you. And also Chris Oseki, I work for Nina Nesbitt, so I'll let her know.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much. Have a lovely rest of your day, and stay tuned for the rest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.